I've always been a men's fashion guy, but it may come as a surprise to you that I've never really been too much of a shoe collector, but I've always known that I've had eccentric taste when it came to shoes, when it came to footwear. I've always really appreciated bright colors, really interesting design details, really interesting patterns, different fabrics, different materials, construction. And in my past life, I actually used to really be into Nike SBs. I used to have the Huxtables, I had the Hawaiis, I had these Oreo kind of looking ones. I had a whole bunch of different SBs, but even then I never really was a footwear head. But with that being said, I know that I really enjoy and appreciate footwear that really is different, stuff that is quality made, luxury, and I definitely do have a specific taste when it comes to footwear. Right now in my rotation, I have my Nike MMW Baroque Browns, my Supreme X Timberland 3i Lug shoes in a pink, almost kind of loaferish style. I also have my Supreme X Doc Martin cow print loafers that have this really dope gold kind of tassel, and I'm also running around with my Nike Overbreak undercovers, which have these really interesting rose kind of floral patterns and embroideries on the shoe. So you could definitely kind of see the type of footwear that I really gravitate towards and just the type of colors that I've really been into. Recently, I've been wearing a lot of green and I really needed a nice pair of shoes to kind of complement all of that green that I've been wearing. And I just really love the way that green shoes work with denim, and not just denim jeans, but denim shirts, denim jackets. So I really needed something that was going to fill that mold. And eventually I stumbled upon a really interesting pair of loafer-ish kind of moccasins that Wythe New York, which is one of my new favorite brands, made in collaboration with Yuketen, which I had no idea how much heritage and history is behind that brand. But they had this really gorgeous pair of green, lace-up kind of loaferish kind of moccasins that I really just fell in love with. And they're made from this really gorgeous suede. And as soon as I seen them, I knew I had to cop. I held back for a little bit because they are a little bit on the pricier side, even for me, especially since I don't really cop shoes that much, but I really could not find anything like this. And to be honest, when I finally got the shoes in, I definitely understood the reason behind the price tag. Basically, Yuketen is a handmade footwear brand that was started by creative director Yuki Matsuda in, I believe, 1989 or 1985. I keep hearing conflicting rumors about that, but somewhere around that time period, decided that he wanted to make heritage style, amazing quality handmade footwear made in the USA with some of the finest materials available throughout the world. And Yuketen has so many different beautiful styles of shoes, whether you're getting the Canoe Mocs like what I have, the Vittore boots that have this really interesting lace-up style, the 6IDB boots that kind of remind me of a Red Wing, their shearling line loafer, which I really have to cop for myself, or even their bit loafers that have this really gorgeous, luxurious, elegant look. And either way you go with Yuketen, you can assure that whatever footwear you're getting from them has a certain standard of quality that Yuki Matsuda instilled into the core of Yuketen's brand that's going to make sure that you have these shoes for a really, really long time. And one of my favorite things about Yuketen is that they really pride themselves in details, especially the stitching details, as well as the different types of soles that they use. And even on the Canoe Mocs, they also use 100% full grain leather laces, which you really don't see that much. So why don't we take a look at the Wythe X Yuketen Evergreen Canoe Mocs? I've really got to say, this is one of the most gorgeous shoes that I've ever had and was ever able to lay my eyes on. The suede is so supple yet so durable. It has a really nice brush feel. The depth of color that it has is insane, and I really love how the front stitching is so textured. So this is actually all hand sewn with thread that's coated in beeswax, I believe, and you could actually really feel that waxy kind of coating on the shoe, or rather on the stitching, and they're really tightly sewn down in there. I mean, this is impressive work. They have this really gorgeous broguing running down from the middle to the back of the shoe, and I believe this is also hand stamped and hand set or hand sewn, and I think that that complements the brown laces right above them so beautifully. I also love the pinking sheared kind of pattern on the back piece of the shoe that runs vertically up and down right above, again, the beeswax coated hand stitching. I think that's one of those details that really sets these kind of shoes apart. And even if these weren't green suede, if they were just a brown, this is still a really nice design detail that Yuketen takes into account that really sets their shoes and their brand, their philosophy, their ethos apart. It's not always about these crazy nuances when it comes to shoes, but really more so about that special attention to detail that can really make you appreciate craftsmanship and just the artisanal work that Yuketen's employees evoke. This is some really sturdy stuff, and from what I understand, even the suede that Yuketen uses is meant to actually have a lot of structure, a lot of that shape retention capability because of the leather that they use. And I've actually worn these a couple of times and they really look pretty fresh. They really don't look that bad in terms of creasing, in terms of wrinkling. You definitely want to be careful with these though, because you don't want want to get any water on them. Admittedly, I did get a little something on them, and those marks are kind of permanent, so you're really not going to get those out. But at the end of the day, that's the beautiful aging quality that not only Yuketen but also Wythe, who in collaboration with this shoe really prides themselves in the aging of garments, in the aging of their footwear. So I mean, I don't really mind, but if that is something that's going to bother you, definitely make sure you're very delicate with these shoes. Looking at the bottom, you have this gorgeous camp sole that's actually made in one piece and is actually a mix between cork chip and rubber from what I understand. And these shoes have a lot of grip, and you could tell by the perforation on the sole that it's definitely meant to last. And again, I have worn these and I'm surprised that I don't have as much heel drag as I would have expected after wearing these quite a few times. So the rubber is definitely a high quality rubber, and I really just love the look or the starry kind of pattern of the sole itself. And I love how from the sides you could actually see the cork chip, which adds again a little bit of that design detail, that design element that really brands a certain style of shoe. And I think that the cork color really just complements the evergreen. These laces are really heavy duty, really sturdy, they're really thick, and even though they're really thick, they're actually surprisingly very easy to tie. And I've had other shoes with leather laces that are really kind of hard to kind of keep their shape, keep the tie, because they slip out so often. These actually really hold the tie all day. They don't really loosen up, they're easy to untie, and because these are real leather, they're actually going to patina and age and fade over time. So really what I'm gathering is that Yuketen really takes their pride in how long you're going to have their shoes and takes into account how they're going to look after years and years of wear. And they also construct their shoes in a way where they're actually easily resolable and easy to take care of if you do take them to a specialist. So all in all, I really appreciate, regardless of the price tag, just how quality made these shoes are. And for anyone who's asking, before I forget, I do want to mention that these do run true to size. I usually wear a 10.5 in regular loafers, so I went with the 10.5 with these, and these fit pretty much perfectly. The only thing is the leather insole at the beginning of the life of the shoe is cut just slightly shorter than the actual shape of the shoe, and you could kind of feel it in the front toes. But I actually emailed Yuketen about this, and they said that that's done intentionally because the leather insole is actually going to stretch and kind of mold to your foot over time, which is the whole reason and purpose of why they use leather on the insole in the first place. And I definitely got to say, they are very comfortable, and it still is kind of in that molding stage for me, but you could definitely feel the little bits of memory foam that's constructed with the leather sole. And the memory foam is there to provide not only a sense of comfort, but also to really sell the fact that these have a lot of that shape retention. So this way, as the shoe is molded to your foot, it'll definitely accommodate the shape of the foot without getting too weird. Because I feel like the problem with a lot of shoes that are timeless is that even though they last a really long time, the shape of the shoe really just starts to deform itself. But the way that Yuketen makes their shoes, these are definitely going to have a really nice, elegant, luxury look for a very long time. All in all, I'm so impressed with my first pair of Yuketens. I really can't wait to get another pair. And again, I'm not really too much of a footwear guy. I just appreciate quality. I appreciate handmade heritage goods. And I just really appreciate a lot of nice design detail, a really nice color. And I mean, I'm a sucker for hand stitching. I really just love hand stitching. So yeah, if you want to check out the Wythe Yuketens, the link is going to be in the description. They have a blue pair and a green pair. I'm not sure how many are available because they have been up there for a little bit, but you could also check out the Canoe Mocs that Yuketen has on their own site that also come in a bunch of different colors. And you can also request a made to order pair if you wanted a little design changed or you wanted to ask some questions, and I promise you definitely won't be disappointed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate the love and support. We're only 200 subs away from 3K, and I can't believe how fast we're growing. Guys, you really are killing it, and I'm really excited for the new content that I have planned. I got some bangers coming through, and I really appreciate the feedback, the community support, and I just really love talking to you guys and answering you guys' questions. Definitely feel free to drop down in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions for videos. And I'm thinking about doing an Osaka 5 video on the true history of what really happened with Japanese denim. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely let me know. I'm really excited to do that, and I'm really excited for the content to come forward. So with that being said, thank you guys again, and I'll see you next week.